Welcome to Creative Tien channel. Today I want to show you how I knit socks on an LK150 knitting machine. I use the Pattern Croy socks yarn. That's about 50 grams. So I will need 2 balls to make one pair of adult size socks. I start with the 21 stitches of needles. That's half of the whole circumferences. I'm starting with some waste yarn because I want to keep the live stitches, and maybe I can do the hand knit ribbon or use a ribber on my standard machine to make a ribbon and graph it to the socks. So I want to keep my options open, and then we can change to the main yarn. I have my upper tension set to number 3 and my carriage tension to 3 too. And the rest of setting is just for plain knitting. Place the yarn in the carriage and we will start cuff down. And since I'm skipping the cuff part, I will start with plain knitting. According to my swatch, for about 5 inches I can knit 50 rows. So I will start by knitting 50 rows. So that's after 50 rows of plain knitting, and we will start do a short row here. That's a standard short row for machine knitting. And there are many ways to do a short row. I'm doing the pretty basic and reliable way. To do the short row, I have to change the setting for the rustle lever to 1 on both sides. That means the stitch in the D position will not be knitted. The general rule for sock knitting short row is to short rowing down, reduce to about 1/3 of the stitch, and then increase it back, and that will create a pocket. And since I have 21 stitch, so you'll be 7 stitches. And we start with the side near the carriage and put the first needle on the D position, and we just knit 1 row. On the other side, we do the same. See, the needle is not knitted back, so this is a partial knitting because the needles on the D position will not knit back. Because we are going to create a pocket, this part will become very loose and we will need more weight. So I'm adding the weight in the center. And the next one is the left side. And we just continue doing that until 7 stitches on each side and 7 stitches in the middle. Now I have 6 on each side. I just need 1 more. 7. Okay, now we have 7 stitches on each side. I'm just holding down the center because the center becomes very loose. So sometimes it's faster just hold it down to make sure the stitch doesn't drop in the center. And now we have to reverse the short row, and I will just wrap it. The first needle near the carriage side, move the yarn under and then move the needle to the C position so the latch is slightly open, and then we knit 1 row. And we'll do the same on the other side. The first needle, we drop the yarn below to prevent the holes, and then move the needle to position C. This is a reverse show row. And I should move the weight up so it doesn't drop stitches. And we'll just continue doing that until all needles are back to the B position. This part might be difficult if you are new to sock knitting, but once you know it, it's really simple. And just take your time, do it slowly so you don't make mistakes. Move the weight up again. The last one. Okay, now we finish show row. You can see it creates a little pocket. You take out the weight. And we do the same for the heel and the toe. You can do different method for the toe, but to keep it simple, we'll do the same method for both heel and the toe part. Now we have the leg part, the heel. We'll continue knitting the bottom part of the socks, and then we'll do the toe. And to decide the length of the sock, you have to look at your sample. Because I like my socks to be a little bit tighter, I will reduce a few rows and see how it goes. And the first pair is always kind of experiment until you get used to your yarn and your machine and the technique. And I'm going to put the counter back to 0. Make sure the setting is back to plain knitting. The rough sew lever goes to 2. I will knit plain knitting until the rows are knit. I'm holding down the knitting so it doesn't pop the stitches. 3, 4. After you reach the appropriate length, you can start to do the show row toe just the same way as the show row heel. So we start with the one close to the carriage and pull out 1 needle and change the setting to 1, Russell level 1, so it doesn't need the D position. Same on the other side. We'll keep working until it's 7, 7, 7 stitches. Reduce to only 7 stitches left. And make sure you put on weight, either by pulling it down or add more weight. We have 7 stitches in the middle. We'll do the reverse show row. Wrap the yarn below the first needle here and move the needle to the C position. And the same on this side. Wrap the yarn, move the needle back. We'll just repeat it. Now we finish show rowing for the toe. We can continue the plain stitch, the same row number as before the show rowing for the other side of your foot. I put the counter back to 000 and I will continue knitting.